My name is Ryan. My friend Kyle and I have taken our barroom conversations to the internet in the form of Michigan's most up-and-coming sports talk podcast. From baseball to Bigfoot, we cover it all. You're in for a treat because you have found the Turbo and 2K show. What's up, 2K crew? It's Turbo, 2Ks. You know what time it is, and you know what? I'm actually not that upset that we're inside doing this week.
No.
It's hot as fuck outside.
Yes, it is.
It's hot as fuck. So 2K crew, stay hydrated. Stay cool. You know, we were bitching about how cold it was here a few weeks ago, and now I think Mother Nature said, well, fuck you, here you go. You're going to get some 90s, and hopefully this is a short week for all you guys and gals as we head towards the 4th of July weekend. And I know I took an extra day off. We're closed on Thursday. I took Friday off. Nice long weekend. And hopefully the weather calms down a little bit so that we can actually go outside and enjoy some shit instead of staying inside and not sweating to death, because I'm not built for this weather. I'm too chubby for this. And you know, give me fall weather where I can wear a long sleeve and a hoodie over this any day. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, you know what, 2Ks, let's as they say in the biz, let's pay some bills, even though no one's paying us. But we do try to get some information out to you folks. And Jerry Motter did give me the official flyer for the Jerry and Danny Motter Memorial outing. It's a 4-man scramble out at Pineview, and Saturday, August 3rd, shotgun at 8:30. $50 a person. They are the main difference from this year from last year, the years previous, is they're asking for pre-registration because they want to kind of get the course ready and everything kind of situated, because they're expecting a lot more golfers this year. So get your foursome together and give Jerry a call at 269-587-0100. And the luncheon to follow is at the VFW. So get on out there, or if you don't want to call him, just email him at jerrymotter. That's JERRYMOTTER @gmail.com. Add golf outing to the subject so nothing gets lost in the shuffle. And then I shared the post for the Fairway Frolic Challenge, which is again at Pineview, and I believe that one's for the athletic boosters, correct?
Yep.
So search the Facebook group. There's all the information, all the ins and outs, and there's actually an event. So go ahead and like that, interest it, whatever you got to do to keep on keeping the loop on that. So all that being said, we're 2Ks. We're kind of at that time of year when, you know, baseball is kind of slowing down. You know, there's a lot of teams that are just really aching for that All-Star break to come around, because maybe the year hasn't been quite what they expected. Detroit Tigers, and it might just be a good idea, you know, to get everyone off their feet for a few days.
Yeah.
And no, I really don't think that the Tigers have anything to worry about as far as any of their players being in the home run derby, so they can screw their swing up. So. Yeah. Let's just get Nick Green over there. Let's get Greeny over there, do his thing for an All-Star. He's deserved it, and yeah, everyone else just go chill.
Yeah,
just go chill. So we touched on this a couple weeks ago with the little girl being hit in the stands, and there was also another one a week ago. That someone else got hit. Mm-hmm. And this is the perfect time, because for almost a week there's only going to be one stadium being used, which is Cleveland. Yep. And this would be the perfect time to extend those nets. Mm-hmm. You know, and there's a lot of folks that are, I pay good money, bullshit. Mm-hmm. Stop it. Maybe for 2 outs of the first inning, it can play with your eyes a little bit. After that, I'm sorry, you really can't. And for folks that have also been saying this, well, you know, I still want to go early and watch batting practice, get autographs and stuff like that. They're not enclosing the entire field. Yeah. you're still going to have access to that, whether they, take part of the net down and put it back up. So the fan experience is still going to be there. A lot of folks are just like, well, it messes with my view. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
No, I totally agree. And, for the people that are complaining about it, put yourself in the situation as, the little girl in Houston with the Cubs Houston situation when that happened. Put yourself in that situation where you're part of that family, or you're the, a parent of that child that was hit. It's 2019 now. Mm-hmm. Things like that are happening. Of course, the media is going to grab everything, and it's time for the ballparks. They just have to. It's such an easy fix.
Yep.
So why not just do it? Get it done with, so this doesn't happen anymore.
And for those that haven't been following up on that little girl actually had brain fractures and had a seizure. Mm-hmm. So it's not like she just got a boo boo. I mean, it was legit. Mm-hmm. It was legit. So. Unfortunately, it's one of those things where it takes something very bad to happen for everyone to be like, well, shit, maybe we should do that. Yep. And, and it's you and I brought this up when we talked about it that week. It's like, baseball wants the fans to get younger. And I read something online that the average age for a baseball fan is 57 years old, which I believe. Mm-hmm. I believe. And we're trying to promote bringing kids to the ballpark. What a better way than to... for parents to know that, all right, well, cool, we can pretty much sit wherever we want now. Mm-hmm. And we could feel safe. Mm-hmm. Now, you and I both agreed that maybe that child should not have been sitting where they were with the nets where they are. Mm-hmm. If they extend the nets, you don't have to worry about it. Yeah. You don't have to worry about it. And we're not saying that parent did that on purpose by any means. Maybe they just didn't think about it. Yeah. Or maybe someone gave them the tickets and they just went. So this is something that is just going to take that variable right out of the equation. So Major League Baseball, Commissioner Manfred, I know you're listening. You hit me up on the reg. So we're advocating for this. We are advocating for this, and for especially a team is $1 billion business, and it's not like they're hurting for money, and it would really break the bank to install some longer nuts. So, yeah.
And the thing about, you go to the ballpark to have fun. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's for the kids. It's for the fans. Mm-hmm. Have fun. Enjoy the day. And, there's nothing fun about having a line drive screaming through that you don't even have any time to react on it. So, by doing this, parents don't have to worry anymore. You don't have to constantly be on guard, waiting for, or, looking for foul balls coming up and trying to block them out of the way and everything. It's not going to take away from anything at the game. You're still going to be able to get autographs. You're still going to be able to catch foul balls. It's making it a safer environment. And
I think too that because there's going to be some of the line drives or the flatter hit balls. Let's not say line drives that aren't going to get into the crowd. Yeah. I think you're going to see teams actually give out more. Just the guy, the ones they're playing with, playing catch in the outfield. They're going to. Baseball is going to make it the best experience they can, because they want your money. Mm-hmm. They're in it. They're a business just like anything else. So of course they're going to want your money. Mm-hmm. And for some, I think honestly, if they don't, they would lose money. Just because, something really bad like this happened, and it took something bad for everyone to kind of open their eyes and be like, oh shit. Yeah. And I mean, I'm pretty sure every ballpark has them, the signs when you walk in, watch out for foul balls and bats and other flying objects. I'm not sure what other object you could, but yeah, the signs are all over the place. Yeah. They do the best they can with what the regulations were, and that was Major League Baseball mandated that the nets be extended to where they are now. So why Major League Baseball hasn't just come out and said, we're going to do this? I think ultimately in the off season, everyone will have them. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those things, like I said, it wouldn't take a month to install these. No. And so when you get, now the All-Star break's coming up, it's the perfect time. Yep. And you know what? Once the All-Star break's done and the first away series that the Indians have, throw yours up too. Mm-hmm. or either while they're practicing and doing all the other bullshit, go ahead and put them up.
Yep.
So, Major League Baseball, get off your ass. Let's do this. It is Turbo and 2K approved. And Mr. 2Ks, this is something I don't think I ever envisioned myself saying. Congrats to the Michigan baseball team. And I put something on my Facebook page. You know, I was like, first of all, they were a lot of fun to watch.
Yes, they were.
And there are a lot of local kids. There's, you know, the right fielder, I think, was from St. Joe. Two of the pitchers were from Portage. So it was one of those where I had to take a step back, put my fandom aside, and just appreciate what was going on in front of me. Because those boys, when they entered the College World Series, they were at 201 or 200 to 1 to win it.
Yeah.
And they were one game away. So, but yeah, that Vanderbilt pitcher that pitched the second game, good Lord. Yeah. That kid is a beast.
He's going to be probably still another year away, because they say that playing in college is pretty important to him and that he wants to stay for another year in Vanderbilt. But I think come 2021, you're probably looking at the first pick of the draft.
And rightfully so. I mean, when it comes down to clutch, you know, they were facing an elimination game. What does he do? Throw a no-no. Throw a no-no. And
with 19 strikeouts in that game.
Yes. Yeah. And, you know, the game against Michigan, he obviously didn't throw a no-hitter.
No.
But he was filthy.
Yes. And in the biggest game of the year for that team.
Yeah, that was a winner go home.
Michigan wins game 1, and he just came out. And he basically, with the way that he pitched in game 2, I thought that he kind of set the tone for game 3.
Yes.
I thought Michigan, it wasn't that same Michigan team that we've been watching throughout the entire postseason in game 3 because of the way that Rocker pitched in game 2. He set the tone for the rest of it, and I thought the way that he pitched in game 2, he also won game 3 for him that night. That's how impressive he was.
Well, he grabbed the momentum and never gave it back.
Yep.
But like I said, hats off to those boys. They played their ass off. They were no one really expected them even to really get into the College World Series, and to have the run that they went on was just fantastic.
I mean, don't forget they went through UCLA, you know, before they even got to the World Series, and UCLA was the number 1 team in the nation, and it was they weren't necessarily, you know, one of the big powerhouse teams in it, but they got hot at the right time, and they took that momentum going through the Big Ten tournament into the postseason, and they just ran with it, and they were a lot of fun to watch. But Vanderbilt is just a better team. They ran into the better team, and the better team won in the World Series. And hats off to Vanderbilt. And that's a very impressive program that they got going there now.
Well, they put up a graphic that said that over the last 10 years, the top 2 teams in wins was Louisville number 1 and Vanderbilt number 2, and I think Vandy was 4 or 5 games behind that. And over that 10-year span, they're if you want to go by the average, we're averaging almost 50 wins a year, which you look. I mean, they have the number 3 or 4 overall pick.
Yep.
And if you look at how many major league, not just players but stars, have come out of this Vanderbilt program, good Lord, good Lord.
Yeah. And the thing with Michigan, and not just Michigan, but I think it's very hard for teams in the Midwest, you know, Michigan was a very good team, and I mean, it wasn't no fluke that they were there and what they did, but a lot of the losses that they took were in the beginning of the season, to where when these seasons start, they've got teams in the Midwest, they haven't been playing all year round like teams down south in the SEC country and all that they can play year round because of the weather. Yeah. You know, we went through the winter tundra here, where the polar, or the whatever you want to call it, when it was -40 here, and
cold as fuck. So, yeah, and that was actually in March.
Yes, and so I think with teams in the Midwest especially, it takes maybe another month or so for them to kind of hit their peak. But with Michigan's never been known to be a big baseball program, but I think that with Eric Backage there now, this isn't going to be the last time that you see Michigan in the World Series playing, you know, relevant baseball down the stretch. I would be shocked if they're not back in the World Series in the next 5-6 years.
And one thing that I really loved watching them is they weren't a powerhouse standout pitching staff.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't a standout powerhouse hitting lineup.
Nope.
They were a complete team.
Yes.
And they used what they did best was putting pressure on the other team.
Yes, absolutely.
As soon as and I'm pretty sure top to bottom in that lineup, as soon as someone got on base, they were looking, how can I get an extra 90 feet? How can I go from first to third? How can, instead of, kind of in the major leagues, what a lot of teams have been accustomed to. I mean, look at the Yankees. They're hitting balls out.
Yep.
They're averaging like 7 home runs a game. Not really, but it seems like it. And to manufacture runs like that, in my opinion, is going to be a better equation over the long haul, because your bombers are going to have their off days. When you take the Yankees, for instance, that heavy right-handed lineup, they come up against a Justin Verlander or even Max Scherzer, like we were watching with the Tigers here today. Righty on righty, you can they can be silenced a lot.
Yeah.
But when you're using speed, putting pressure on the defense, anytime you put pressure on the defense is good.
Yeah.
Because you're forcing them to do something that they're either in a hurry doing or aren't used to doing. So for an error to occur goes up a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it's to me it's a more athletic way of doing it.
It's more of a strategic style. I mean, and when you face pitchers like for instance, Kumar Rocker, the pitcher for Vanderbilt, you're not going to drive in a lot of runs, facing him. So you have to manufacture your runs, and that's basically the only shot you have. And if you can hopefully manufacture 3-4 runs, you got to hope that you can pitch it, but that's all you're going to get out of him.
Yep.
So,
and obviously Morgan is a fan of what you're saying. But no, you're in it, and I think that's one of the reasons why the Red Sox had such a great lineup last year. Is Cora brought in this hey, we're young, we're athletic as fuck, we're going to be stealing bases, we're going to go from first to third. I want you to be aggressive on the base pass. I don't care if you get thrown out. And I want to say that team was middle of the pack in home runs. They weren't hitting the ball out, at record paces by any means.
Same thing with the Houston Astros.
Yep.
Same way with the Royals. That's the style that they play. They put the pressure on you, and you go through, you play against a team like that, and especially in the major leagues where you're playing 3 consecutive games in 3 days with a series, and you play against a team like that, you just flat out are exhausted at the end of that, because there's that constant pressure to where you get on with a single. Well, anybody on that team can turn a single into a double because they can steal the next base, if not steal third.
Or just with their combined speed, you hit a dribbler to third. The third baseman has to rush what he's doing, rush a throw, which could look, he could airmail it or bounce it. Yep. And next thing you know, it's a pass ball, and your guy's on second.
And
so
that constant pressure can take the focus off a pitcher, what he's doing, dealing with the batter. Easy. And you leave a breaking ball up or something like that, and next thing you know, you have your home run that's driving in 2 or 3.
And let's be honest, this day and age, every major leaguer can hit a home run. I mean, you look back when I was growing up, and there was always the tiny little second basemans, or like the Ray Ordonez of the world, where they were defense only. Any offense was a bonus. Yeah. And for guys, I always like the person that stands out in my mind the most is Mark Lemke, the old second baseman for the Braves. I think the dude might have hit 2 home runs his whole career. And now, I mean, you have second basemen that are averaging 25 home runs a year. So the power is going to be there. Every major leaguer can hit it out of any stadium. It's just the fact that it's more. I guess maybe it's not sexy. I don't know. Everyone just wants to hit bombs. Yeah. I mean I was a pull hitter in high school, but I could go line to line. Did I have a lot of power to right? No, you don't need to. You don't need to. And you look at all these shifts. Are you fucking kidding me? You're going to give me the 4 hole, a gap. I mean, huge. Yeah, I'm going to hit it there.
Yeah.
And if I was a left-handed power hitter, like what I think we touched on it, Matt Carpenter got a double off of a bunt.
Yep.
Yeah. And you know what? You do that 3 or 4 times, and that shift's not going to be nearly as...
Yep.
It'll still probably be there, but it won't be as aggressive.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And no, to me, give me an entire team of Mark Lemke style hitting, and you'll win a lot of games.
Oh yeah.
You know, it probably won't be the sexiest thing in the world,
No.
but you know what? These 2-1, 3-1 games the close games that you're in, those base hitting and putting pressure on the other team, that's when it's going to shine, when you're in close games like that, because you're dictating how things are going to go instead of the other way around. But no, that again, hats off to the Michigan team. That was I was very excited to watch them play, and how we watched part of one of the games at your house.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it was, and for me being a Tigers fan, it gave me a month where I didn't have to watch the Tigers. I could watch them, and they were a lot more fun to watch than the Tigers. So,
well, yeah, for the Tigers fans out there, we'll help the Tigers out a little bit here. They're running a promotion for the tickets for the Red Sox series. They're $17.76 for lower level seats, which are normally, if I remember right, a couple years ago, like 50 bones.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you can go sit on the lower level for less than $18 and no Ticketmaster fees. So get on that. And yeah, Tigers Brash, you can get a hold of me on Facebook, and we can arrange for payment details at a later date. But yeah, we're sitting here watching the Tigers, and they're playing the Nats, of course. And Scherzer's being Scherzer. He was dealing, and we just happened to look around, and I go to 2Ks. I'm like, who the hell's this guy on the mound? He goes, I don't know. I was like, well, did he win a contest? Like, you pay an extra $20 as a fan, and you can go pitch in a Tigers game. But and then the dude starts throwing gas like 97, 98. I'm like, I don't think he's a fan. I mean, he might be, but I have a feeling they have him under contract. But probably the thing that's got me the most fired up this week, 2Ks, is this fucking series in London. Yankees, Red Sox. And, you know, we talk a lot of Tigers baseball. We don't talk a lot of Red Sox baseball. So now we're coming into my realm. And first of all, I think it's a fucking joke. I understand that you're trying to grow the global baseball brand. I get that. But there's got to be a way to do it where, and kudos to baseball for sending 2 good teams, unlike the NFL that sends like the Titans and the Jags every year and no one gives a fuck. Yeah. But when you have 2 teams that are, and yes, I'm going to say it, the Red Sox are still in playoff contention. Mm-hmm. To put 2 teams that these 2 games could come and decide the division. And for those of you that don't know, they're playing at, I can't remember the name of the stadium, but it's a soccer stadium over in London. And they constructed a baseball field. It looks beautiful. Mm-hmm. I mean, they did a magnificent job. But when the center field fence is $385, I think it is. Yeah. Come on now. Yeah. Come on. And you saw yesterday, I didn't get to watch any of the game today, but yesterday, Jesus, balls are flying out left and right. And when you have 2, you know, right now Tanaka is the Yankees' ace. Mm-hmm. He went 2/3 of an inning. Yeah. Gave up 6 runs. Porcello for the Red Sox, which the Red Sox, it's kind of hard to tell who's their ace. You know, everyone thinks it's Sale, which it should be, but you know, Sale hasn't had, you know, the consistent Chris Sale year that we're used to. And you know, Porcello is an ex-Cy Young Award winner. He probably would be an ace or number 2 on most any other staff. He goes 1/3 of an inning, gives up 6. Yeah. The final for that score was 17-14. That's a slow pitch softball game, and pretty much that they were just beating and abusing that field. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, let's take two of our very best teams, take them across the pond. Fuck up their sleep schedule, because there was a lot of the Yankees hitters that said, yeah, we've we couldn't even go out and look at stuff because we were exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not like they're going over there for the fan experience, if you will, or the touristy experience. You know, let's fly them over there, middle of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I understand it's right up against the All-Star break. Everything will work out, Turb. Just calm down. No, I'm not. Especially when your starters don't even get out of the first inning, and all of a sudden you're taxing the shit out of your bullpen. But maybe it's a, you know, maybe I should take a step back and be like, you know what? Maybe this is a thing that knocks the Yankees bullpen out of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
Red Sox bullpen's already out of sorts, so maybe it'll knock them into sorts But no, not a fan. Not a fan.
And I'm not a fan either because, I mean, I get what they're trying to do, and they're trying to, like you said, globalize the sport of baseball, but what they're showing over in London is not typical baseball. Like these fans that are watching it over there and watching these 14-10 games or whatever the score was, and today I think it was 12-8, and these home runs, 6-7 home runs for each team in a game, and they're going to be very, very upset if they ever come to America and watch a game here and it's a pitching duel, 3-2 or 2-1 or something like that. And then there's more baseball games that flow in that range, where maybe 6-4 or 6-5. You don't see a whole lot of games where there's 19 hits and 6 home runs for one team, and the other team has 18 hits.
28 pitchers used.
Yes, so they're not really giving a accurate showing.
They pretty much, it was home run derby.
Yeah, and
with a game going on.
They're like, and the field's like the size of the Little League World Series, so it's just, and like I get that also. It is pretty cool that you do have two good teams, like the NFL, where they go over there and play, and you might see 5 field goals the whole game because either one of the teams can score a touchdown. But at the same time, if I'm with Boston or if I'm with the Yankees, I'm upset about this because that's probably the biggest rivalry in baseball.
Yep. You
have two of the better teams in the game year in, year out, and you're screwing around over in London playing this series, and these are meaningful games. I mean, these are going to be the two teams that are going to, going down the stretch, these are going to be the two teams I think that are going to be first and second in that division.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're, I would rather play this game at my home ballpark that I'm more familiar with going into it than going to a ballpark that I've never been, being on an entire different schedule.
Mm-hmm.
To me, if you're going to do it, send over two teams like, the Tigers and the Marlins and let them go over there and do their thing. And because the Tigers probably couldn't even hit a home run in that field. So, but that's, I guess it's, kind of if I wasn't a baseball fan, I'd be like, oh yeah, great. This is awesome. You got two of the better teams over there. But me being a baseball fan and having so much respect for the game, you're sending over two teams that are going to be in, title contention.
Yep. And
you're having them screw around over there. I don't like it.
And this is something that I didn't research, and I'd really like to know the answer. Is that obviously, especially Yankees Red Sox, it's huge home field advantage. You got the short porch and right, and well, actually both of them, but shorter in Yankee Stadium. And you got the monster, and just the fandom at both.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my bucket list things is to go watch a Yankees Red Sox game at Fenway, and just to get that experience. And I'm curious to see whose home games these are.
Yeah.
Do you take one from each? I don't know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm there. If you're going to do it, there's got to be a better way to do it. And they could be like, oh well, this has been on the schedule for 2 years. I don't give a fuck. Like the Yankees and Red Sox weren't good 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't buy that.
And the only way, I guess probably the only way that I think that you could do it with those two teams, start the season off like that. I mean, shit. Yeah. Didn't Boston start the season like 15 games in a row on the road?
Yeah.
Like, might as well just throw one in London to start the season and play 2 games over there right off the bat, and then
they might have actually played better in London.
Yeah.
than on the West Coast. Yeah. They legitimately they were the last team to have their home opener,
mm-hmm. Which is so stupid to me, anyways, because you're talking about the team that won the World Series, and then you're going to start them off the next season with, I think it was somewhere pretty close to like.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks before they got home.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about 13, 14 games before you even play your home opener, and you're I mean, you're coming off a World Series win. The first thing all the excitement, the first thing that you want to do is play in front of that home crowd, get your rings, go through the ceremony, and have that. And to have to wait for 2.5 weeks, to me is a joke.
And I'm kind of 50-50 on. I agree with you, but I look at it this way too. They got their West Coast swing out of the way.
Yeah.
And they're playing. It was the weather was nicer over there than it was in Boston, but you're right. The one thing that they really want to do is get the ring, put the banner up.
Yep.
And that's kind of one of the cool parts about winning a title is to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think maybe it could be an advantage a little bit when it comes down to it. The Yankees got to make their trip over there, and so we shall see. Yeah. We shall see. But it has been a very, very odd year for Red Sox Nation, that's for sure. I mean, hell, they're 500 at home. That doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen. And obviously, they're 0-2 in different countries.
Yeah, yeah. With me, if I was a Red Sox fan, I wouldn't be in that panic mode yet. We just talked about it with Michigan. You get hot at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
You get hot in these last 2 months of the season. Maybe it's going to be something as far as making a deal here at the trade deadline, and might be the thing that puts them over the top, that gets them going.
And you speaking of hot teams, we're watching probably the hottest team in baseball right now, the Washington Nationals. They've been on a fucking run,
mm-hmm.
and they've made up a lot of ground real quick in that division. So definitely keep your eye on them. I mean, it was only a matter of time. I mean, Scherzer.
Yep.
I haven't even heard Steven Strasburg's name once this year, so hopefully is he pitching? Probably.
Yeah.
There was a dude in Detroit with a Strasburg jersey on. Maybe it was him sitting in the stands. I don't know. But no, you're right. And luckily for the Red Sox too, Tampa has come back down to reality. Yeah. And so I think they can catch the Yankees? Yes.
Yeah. The thing that gets me with Tampa is, Charlie Morton doesn't really surprise me. He was a great pitcher for Houston, so that one doesn't really surprise me. Mm-hmm. But the Oderozzi doing what he's doing, imagine if Blake Snell was doing anything even close to what he's having a terrible season.
Yes.
And if he was doing anything even close to last year, that team could be maybe in first place right now.
Still.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, it's I don't think that surprises either one of us, because I'm pretty sure that we weren't buying into it. It was a good story while it was going. They were playing amazing ball, and they just came back down to earth.
Yeah,
and there's always that one team that does that. Mm-hmm. So the one team I don't think that's going to come back down to earth is the Twins. Those boys are balling out.
They can hit.
They're as many home runs. The Yankees set the major league record for most home runs in consecutive games.
Mm-hmm.
They're still quite a bit behind the Twins. They're just mashing the ball, and pitching really well. And even the Indians have come on here as of late, and they're not even healthy. Yep. So the AL Central is a very weak division. So I think that's one of the main reasons why the Twins are going to stay afloat, and they're going to end up walking away with the division. Because I don't think it would surprise either one of us if a lot of those Indians players were on the trading block.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of big names. Mm-hmm. I think Lindor, Kluber, probably any of their starters.
Mm-hmm.
Bauer.
Yep.
And so we shall see. But we got Tigers. Damn, bottom of the ninth, 2-1. Goodwin's up, 2 on, first and second. Maybe he can get a little knock, get that tying run in.
I bet not.
Kyle, the ever optimist. No, I'll give you a little play-by-play here, see what we got going on. Kick the pitch, and I'm surprised he didn't swing at that. We got a 1-2 count. Got Doolittle on the mound, which to me is a very odd he's a very odd closer to me. And I think he was one of those guys that kind of got thrust into the position when he was with Oakland and kind of ran with it. Oh, what happened? We got a fly ball to the left, and it's, quote, Hawk Harrelson, it's can of corn. At least they made it interesting. Yesterday's game, that was a good game. They scored a lot of runs. There was very, very timely hitting.
Yep.
And Morgan's okay, guys. Don't worry. Don't worry. She's all right. But let's, like you and I were talking earlier before we went live, that I started listening to some other sports podcasts to kind of gauge where we're at. You know, how as far as our sound quality goes, our content, you know, just our kind of pace of talk, just kind of comparing us to some of the big boys. And the first one that I checked out was the Pat McAfee show. And for those of you who don't know who Pat McAfee is, I think you've been living under a rock. But if you don't, he was the forever punter for the Indianapolis Colts and probably one of the coolest personalities in sports. And I don't know too many people that start fights with the USGA, but Pat McAfee did. And if you're a podcast fan, which obviously if you're listening to us, you think either Turbo or myself or 2Ks are really cool, or you actually like what we say, go ahead and check him out, because some of the crazy shit they do on that show is hilarious. But I ventured into Barstool Sports, and everyone's going, oh, well, of course Turbo did. He's a Red Sox fan, blah blah blah. And Barstool Sports is out of the New England, Boston area, so. But they have a lot of podcasts, and I just blindly chose this one. It's called The Starting Nine, and the host, I'm not really sure who it is, but Dallas Braden is the color guy. And first of all, I thought Dallas Braden was cool as shit when he was on ESPN. Did some of the shit they'd have him do be a little corny? Yeah. But
the thing I love about Dallas Braden, probably the most, and I will take this to my grave, is when he got on A-Rod for stepping on his mound.
Yes.
And because I hate A-Rod, I think I think about everybody I know hates A-Rod. But if you're not familiar with it, A-Rod flies out, and as he's trotting back to the dugout, he steps foot over Dallas Braden's mound, and Dallas Braden just went nuts. And I mean, he was ready to kick his ass.
Yeah.
And from that day on, I was like,
I like that.
That's a cool guy.
That, and he had some of the, I'm not really going to say cool hair, but he as Kevin Millar would say, he had some big league lettuce. But yeah, Dallas Braden swears more than you and I do combined on a daily basis when we're at work. And he's actually go ahead and check it out. It's called The Starting Nine. I believe they do, I think, 3 shows a week, but hour-long shows just like ours. So check them out. It's actually they're very informative, but yet they keep your attention with just some of the cool shit that Dallas Braden says. But yes, I gave them a shout out. I'm also stealing their content because why not? That's what we do. They had, and one of the reasons why they brought this up is Dallas is a huge Shohei Ohtani fan. And it was kind of like one of those mid-year checkpoints that they were going to, if he did come back, kind of check in to see where he's at. And it's a very unique situation because normally when someone has Tommy John, you don't see him for a year, 18 months. But with Ohtani, because he's an excellent hitter as well, he has 170 at-bats right now. But he's hitting. And not only hitting, he's hitting very well. And he missed the first part of the season, which, of course, dude had his elbow redone. And just to kind of give you some quick stats, I said 170 at-bats, 50 hits, 10 home runs, 33 RBIs with a very good 294 average. And not only that, he breaks up the right-handed kind of monotony that the Angels have. And anytime you can get a bat behind Mike Trout so they can't pitch around him is always a plus.
Yep.
Even though he's still going to hit 330 every year. But one of the main things that they were talking about was Ohtani was thrown off the mound for the first time. Granted, only I think 20 or 30 pitches. No, it was 20 from the stretch, 20 from the windup, so 40 pitches. And ultimately, I think the way the Angels have handled this, first of all, I was against. Just shut them down for the whole year. Looking back on it, they made me look like an asshole. And it's a very unique, like I said, it's a very unique situation because he's a very unique player. We don't get that pitcher-hitter combo that, back in the day, way back in the day, that we used to see. Because everyone wants to be specialized and do one thing good instead of two things mediocre. And for what he's doing right now, I think is absolutely amazing. Yeah. And I don't think that the Angels are going to make the playoffs by any means, but kind of one of the cool parts that you and I were chatting about was, when you do have a season-ending injury like that and you're out for the year or for an extended period of time, you normally don't travel with the team, you don't train with the team, you don't see the guys, and by the time you come back the next year, it could be an entirely different team. Yeah. And so for him to actually be with the team, still training, hanging out with the boys, that's got to go a long way in your rehab process. Because I could only imagine, especially like if it was a knee, God forbid this actually happens, but if he tore his ACL, you're out, you're training at home. Maybe occasionally you go in and get checked in with the doctors, but that's got to be a very lonely experience. It's just you and your trainer. Well, over this, he can have his trainer, obviously his translator, and all of his teammates too. So that's got to be a very, very big pro as far as that goes. But yeah, I would be. His healing is ahead of schedule, is what they're saying, because he tore his. He actually had surgery, I think, the first week in October. And he actually played out the rest of the season is just hitting, with that ligament torn. So I'm sure it didn't feel good. No. But it obviously didn't hurt his hitting. And so, yeah, I didn't really expect this. Yeah. I'm still kind of at a loss for words because we've never seen anything like this before. And we might not for quite a while. Yeah.
And that's what's so impressive to me with him, and what makes him so intriguing was I can remember last year when he first came over and everybody was making the big deal out of him, and I was one of the first ones to say, we'll see. We'll see. But he proved it. He proved it last year that he has the stuff to be potentially ace material for about any team in the majors, and also be maybe the best DH in the game. And like you said, we just don't. And I think there's a lot of pitchers in the game that probably could DH and probably could hit, but organizations just don't let that happen. Now, if they're paying you to be an ace or they're paying you to pitch, they don't want you. They don't want the risk of you getting hurt trying to run the bases or anything like that, because then you can't pitch for them. And same thing, if you're swinging the bat, they don't want you out there pitching because it's just that's what they're paying you to be a hitter, not a pitcher. So I think it's so cool what they're doing with him. I mean, it almost gives you that high school, college feel when you watch him. There's, he can pick up the bat and you don't even need, you can use a DH on somebody else. Maybe they got a second baseman or something that batting around the Mendoza line. You can use a DH on that, and so it's just it's really a cool feel that it brings to the game, where you only see that these days now at high school and maybe the college level occasionally.
Yeah. And growing up, usually your pitchers were usually your best athletes. Their hand-eye coordination, that and the shortstops are usually your two best athletes on the field. But yeah, this is something that I wasn't even, let's wait and see. I was like, this is gonna be junk. All this hype, and I think it wasn't just the fact that he was going to be hitting and pitching. But how many times have we seen Japanese players come over and just shit the bed?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Tanaka's doing well, and with the Yankees, so I mean, he's basically their ace right now.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, gave up 6 runs and didn't even make it out of the first. Mm-hmm. Thank you, London. But no, it's even going back to like Hideo Nomo and Daisuke, fucking Daisuke, and it's one of those things where it's like, all right, here comes, and all of these guys came over with all the hype. Mm-hmm. I think now, especially with the World Baseball Classic every 4 years, we get to see a lot of these guys. Yeah. They become household names, and then they produce on that stage. But yet when they come into the majors, it's like, I've got my money. I'm just going to take a giant shit all over everything, which is exactly what Daisuke did. But no, I was hesitant to even, dip my toe into that pool and be like, no, fuck that. I've seen that movie. Mm-hmm. I know how it ends. Mm-hmm. And for him to do what he's doing right now, make me look like an asshole, please, because I like what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So, Shohei, we know you're listening. Keep it up. Hope the rehab and everything else goes well. And that's got to be a cool feeling, batting behind Mike Trout.
Oh yeah.
And for the Angels to have the player like him to put behind Trout, so he's not getting pitched around. Mm-hmm. That's got to be a good feeling for him too. Yeah. Even though he's still gonna hit 330 with 40 bombs and 100 RBIs and yeah, so it makes the team better, obviously, because I'm grasping at straws here. The last Angels ace that I can actually remember, and Jared Weaver's the only one that comes to mind. and if it's been that long, then you have a problem. But yeah, so keep an eye on him. Let's see where everything goes with that. And yeah, it's good things are coming. Like he's, and one of the things that they brought up on the Barstool podcast was and for whatever reason people asked, they were asking Dallas about this, like he's a PhD, and they're like, well, what do you expect from him coming back as far as a pitcher? And if you guys don't remember, Ohtani was hitting triple digits. Mm-hmm. And had like 18 different pitches. Nothing was straight. So yeah, and Dallas is like, well, I think he's gonna, maybe 94. He's not gonna have the overpowering stuff anymore, and he's gonna have to tailor his game more like Tanaka, where everything moves, keep everyone off balance. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I agree with that. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of dudes that come back from the surgery and actually throw harder. Yeah. Which, if that's the case, that's gonna be fucking scary.
Yeah. And just the frame and the body that he has, he's not gonna be. I mean, I can see it maybe in another 6-7 years where the velocity, he's gonna start losing that velocity and everything. But for right now, he's still young. He has the frame. He's gonna come back. He's gonna be healthy, and I think he's gonna be. I think the best. We haven't even seen the best out of him yet. So.
And. MLB.com has him listed at 6'4", 210, 24 years old. Yeah. So I think you're right. This kid, he's not even...
He has more of that Darvish frame to him, where he's more of a... He's gonna pound the zone, to where someone like Tanaka's size, he's not gonna be the guy that's gonna blaze the ball by you. He's gonna have to pitch for everything, be a pitcher, be more of that Greg Maddux style. Yeah. And
for everyone that's, I can't believe I'm, defending Tanaka, but when he came over, he was a hard thrower, mm-hmm. but there was a lot of folks that said he should have had Tommy John years ago, mm-hmm. and he never did, and he instead of that, 97, 98, he's 92, 93, but he doesn't need that. Yeah. Everything, the bottom drops out, it breaks, cuts in, cuts mm-hmm. out. So, but no, you're right. He's probably actually bigger. Yeah. 6'4". He's definitely bigger than Tanaka. Mm-hmm. Darvish, he's probably bigger than Darvish too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and just age wise, he's still young. And if he's doing shit like this and really hasn't figured out baseball, not to diss him by any means, but most time your players 27, 28, 29 is when they hit their peak. And if this kid's doing it at 24, fuck, thank God he didn't go to the Yankees. Thank you for staying on the West Coast. But so yeah, that is our stolen content. You're welcome. Anytime, Barstool Sports, anytime you want to steal our content, go right ahead. I won't be upset. And we're going to wait till next week to talk, or maybe even a couple weeks to talk basketball. First of all, our love for the NBA is, immense and just growing. But
through the roof.
Yeah, ecstatic. It's one of those where I'd rather do a show and talk about where they actually land, as opposed to sitting here trying to sound cool and be like, no, he's gonna sign here. My insider told me this. Yeah, because we have lots of insiders. Lots of insiders.
I am pretty excited though for the off season kicks off, I think, late tonight, leading into this next week. I'm pretty excited to see what there is to talk about come next weekend, because this is an off season that I'm really looking forward to. I think there's going to be a lot of changes. Teams, there's a lot of big names out there that are changing teams. Are the Lakers going to be able to land Kawhi? And what's the KD situation going to be? I think Klay Thompson is going to stay in Golden State, but nobody really knows what. It seems like it's a different story I get every morning when I hear about Durant and what Durant's going to do or what Kyrie's going to do. So I'm pretty excited for this week to see what happens. Yeah,
it's like the only thing we know for sure is Anthony Davis is now a Laker.
Yep.
And wearing number 23.
Yep.
So good for you. Good for you. I think when they say that LeBron's going back to number 6 now.
Number 6, yeah. Which I like. I like it. To me, especially when you talk about a LeBron James and everybody's always comparing him to Michael Jordan. Well, the number 23, no matter what anybody says, 23 is Jordan's number.
Yep.
So for anybody else to be wearing it, I'm like, it just doesn't sit right with me. So LeBron, get your own number.
Yes.
Wear your number 6 and go with it. And Anthony Davis, great player. I think he's top 3 or 4 player in the NBA right now. But nobody's ever going to compare him to Jordan.
No,
they're total different players. So for him to wear 23, it's not much of a big deal. But someone like LeBron, who every single season it seems like we're having the comparison. Yep. Is he as good as Michael Jordan? Is he Mike? You can't wear the same number as Mike. That's always kind of irritated with.
Well, like Kobe went to 24 because he thought he was one better than Jordan. So, and speaking of numbers, I found it odd, and maybe I didn't even really pay attention, but one of the Michigan kids wore 42.
Yeah.
And, that's not something you see in Major Leagues, because that was Jackie Robinson's number, and it's retired throughout all baseball. So it was one of those things where I like, is that kid wearing 42? And then sure as shit, he walked by again. I'm like, that's not something you see. It's not something you see.
Nope.
Mo Rivera was the last one to wear it because they retired it, and then whoever was wearing it could continue to wear it, but no one new would wear it. So yeah, that was another oddity that I guess I ultimately I thought maybe everyone just retired it permanently through the whole baseball. But no, and that's 100% fine. I'm not knocking the kid for it by any means, but just the things that I notice. Welcome into Turbo's mind. But no, the NBA. It's one of those things I'd much rather be reactionary to instead of wasting our time talking about it and wasting your time when we can talk about something way cooler. And yeah, and to be honest with you, I don't think anyone actually knows except the players themselves. Yeah. So, and you know what? I'm sure Woj is going to have some Woj bombs here probably tonight. As I'm sure I'm going to put it out there, and of course you guys are going to listen to this on Tuesday. But it's Sunday, and one of the things I love about Sunday is Sunday night baseball. Even though A-Rod's dumbass is on there, but I can tolerate him more as an announcer than I ever could as a player.
Oh yeah.
And unlike a lot of some of the announcers that Rod Allen that claim to be these this hitting expert and all this gurus. Motherfucker, you played in Japan. Stop. At least A-Rod knows how to hit.
Mm-hmm. Was
he one of the biggest guessing hitters on the planet? Yes, but you know what? He guessed a lot right.
Yeah.
So that was his approach. Whether it obviously worked for him. He that and yeah, that let's just bypass the A-Rod thing. I'll get fired up, and we're almost to our hour mark, and this would turn into a 3-hour show. But I guarantee there's going to be at least one breaking news on the bottom line, and one of these guys are going to sign somewhere tonight. Tonight. And Sunday Night Baseball kicks off at 7. I think the NBA opens free agency at 6. So, yeah. And I have a feeling that you're not going to see... You might see one or two of the next tier down guys sign. But none of the big ones.
Yeah,
none of the big ones.
Yeah, I think some of the bigger names are it's gonna take some time. They're gonna weigh some different options and hear what all these teams have to say. And a lot of these bigger names, they're gonna see what the team does beforehand. Or you don't want to just go jump into some system and not have that has nothing. So we'll see.
And one of the weirdest things that you and I were talking about this earlier is the Anthony Davis thing where. Just out of the blue, he waives a $4 million bonus that he was expected to get, so they could increase the amount that they can spend and hopefully land I guess depending on how you look at it, but the potential to sign a max player is there. And I find it weird that they're like, oh well, LeBron will take care of that. And AD is going to be in the Space Jam movie, and I guess I'm not making this up, and it's been more. I've read it more than once that LeBron's going to pay him that money back for being in Space Jam 2. If that doesn't sound like some collusion weird shit, I don't know what is. But no. What's interesting and intriguing to me is how teams are going. The teams that are going after Durant, the teams that are going after Clay, if he does end up opting out, you're paying for a redshirt year, ultimately. And I understand that KD's a once-in-a-generation player. I get that. And Achilles is a big injury.
Oh, yeah.
I would trust someone coming back from an ACL tear than an Achilles any day. And who's to say that he's even going to come close to even being what he was? You're taking a big gamble, and that's a lot of money. And there's rumors that him and Kyrie are going to team up and go to the Knicks, or the Nets have the cap space, but I don't think anyone wants to go to Brooklyn. And I think the Clippers were the other one that have the means to do it as it is now. Lord knows what the hell is going to happen. So I was actually talking to a couple guys last night, and they're like, man, you guys dog on the NBA a lot. I'm like, well, it's fucking boring. The most intriguing shit is the off season, not actually the playing of the games.
And that's what irritates me about the NBA so much is it when we talk about football, because I mean, let's just be honest, NFL is probably that's the most popular sport. I think most people want to listen about football. I mean, is it to me and you personally? Probably baseball is our number one.
Yep.
But right after baseball, it's football for me. And when you talk about football, you talk about what's going on the field.
Yeah.
You talk about with NBA, all the excitement is in the draft, in the off season, in the free agency, and then when the season kicks off, it's like, nobody really even cares. The only thing
until the postseason.
Yeah, it's like watching a soap opera. That's what it is.
That's exactly
what the NBA is, and that's what irritates me, and that's why I try not to bash it, but I bash it all the time because it's like all the excitement is in the off season, and as soon as the season starts, it's like they don't play any defense. Everybody just complains about it, and it's like
they shoot a million threes.
Yeah.
But no, I'm right there with you, and I'm sure you've seen some of the rumors going around about restructuring the season. So obviously the NBA listens to our show too. Mm-hmm. So we've finally gotten through, guys. You know, we're kind of a big deal.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we've got followers out the ass, and I mean, like I said, the NBA's listening. Mm-hmm. So, but now we're getting up to that hour mark. Did we leave anything out? Mm-mm. No stone unturned. I do want to give a big shout out to the Dustin Perry, very dedicated listener. I was actually shocked. He's out in San Francisco doing his thing, and we chatted it up a little bit, and he actually referred to me as media, which I thought was pretty cool. And he said next time he's in town, we'll have to get him right here in the seat, and we'll do an interview with him. Hopefully he hangs out for the whole hour, so we can kind of pick his brain and kind of get a little insider information, if we will.
Yeah.
Kind of the ins and the outs. And for those of you that don't know, Dustin is the head strength and conditioning coach for the 49ers. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was actually really cool and I don't think I've seen him in about a year.
Yeah.
So, A, it was good to catch up with him. And then B, he's like, man, I listen to your guys' show all the time. Yeah. So, Dustin, huge shout out for you. And that
would be cool to have him on here. I would love to sit here and talk 49ers football with him all day long, but like he's a sports guy. He knows about all the sports. Yep. I'd like to get some of his insight on the NBA and maybe MLB. I don't know if he's much of a baseball watcher, but get some other sports in there and get him talking on that. So
he's one of those strength coaches that looks like a strength coach too. So
yeah.
Maybe we can have Christian on. They can have a little arm wrestling match. And because that would actually be kind of cool. See what accessories Christian wears, like to the basketball thing. So, but no, huge shout out to you guys. Have a safe trip home, Dustin. We look forward to seeing you again, and good luck on the season. If we don't run into you before then, and we're at that hour mark. So hopefully the weather calms down. We do have some time to get out, enjoy this Michigan summer and fall is probably the two best things in the world. So get out on the lake, get out by the pool, grab a drink, hang out. Of course, have us streaming in the background so we can at least entertain you a little bit too. So have a good 4th of July, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Don't be too crazy. Keep all your digits. And with that being said, Jim Rome, we're coming for you.